What up, yo? It's Spike here, and I'm like a wet dog, so don't think I dyed my hair like that other guy did. Um, yeah, shoot. I'm like wet. Alright. So this is a touchy topic. Touchy. Like, touchy. I've never talked about it in a video before, you know? Never discussed religion. Never made a video about religion in my life. But I think now I decided. I think it's about time that people know what I believe. If you don't know, I actually make lots of videos about religion, and I'm being sarcastic. Okay. So I think you bring up some interesting stuff. I know you're asking other people what they believe in. You know, I respect that, because it's like, I especially liked what you said at the end. Like, how am I supposed to know, like, which one's right? Personally, I am an atheist. And that doesn't mean, you know, like, to some of you that are maybe a little bit more anti-atheist, that doesn't mean that I hate God or want to take away your right to believe what you do. All it means is that I think with the current evidence that I've seen, that I think there most likely is not a God. That's all it means. I'm not following Satan. I'm not influenced by Satan. You know, fundamentalists would disagree, but I'm not following Satan. I just don't believe that with the evidence that I've seen that there is a God. There could be, but it seems unlikely to me. As for like what I believe according to the afterlife, I don't believe anything according to the afterlife. I have no reason to believe anything according to the afterlife. A lot of people say that, and this is what most atheists think, that we just die because they think that there's no soul. Therefore, we're just connected to our bodies by our brains. So once our body stops functioning, like, everything that makes us think and makes us who we are also stops functioning. So we just go. Like, we no longer exist. And that's hard for us to comprehend because we're so used to existing. And some people would be like, well, what would non-existing feel like? Well, it would feel like nothing. But it wouldn't feel like you're feeling nothing. It would just be non-existence. It's very difficult to explain. However, I've started to think more and more on the fact that the brain continues working for a short period of time after you die. Like a week or so, I think. I'm not sure how long it is, but the brain continues functioning after death. I'm not sure if this is true in every case, but like, at least for a little bit, the brain continues functioning. So I have to wonder, what if the time in which the brain continues functioning, and what happens from people's experience when, you know, in a near-death experience, when the brain continues functioning, it basically creates sort of an afterlife based on your own personal, beliefs, your own thoughts, basically. So it's sort of like an afterlife based completely around your own mind. For example, if you have dark thoughts all the time and like sort of like a dark mind, sort of a evil spirit, you could say, then your afterlife experience is going to reflect that. And your afterlife experience is you face all of your own problems. And it's not like a hell, because that's what a lot of people think it is. It's like eternal punishment. But it's not. It's you face your own problems. You're finally put face to face with the thing that you've tried to been running away from, which is in your own mind. Once you're within your own mind, you finally come face to face with that. And that's what a lot of people have experienced in their afterlife. My question is whether it's eternal. I mean, because it can't be eternal. But what if time is transcended? I've thought about that. Like, what if time is transcended? And basically it's like there is no time within that time period. Like, it feels like eternity. You know how things have the ability to feel like longer or feel like shorter than they actually are? And do you know how time basically feels, every unit of measurement is infinite, right? Because if you take 1 minute, you could go into seconds. You could go into milliseconds. and you could just keep going lower infinitely. There are an infinite amount of numbers between it, between 0 seconds and 1 minute. Infinite amount of numbers. And there are different levels of infinity too, which is kind of hard to understand, but there are. And so it's definitely confusing, definitely. But I've just thought this is more what I like to believe rather than what I do believe. That what if the time we spent in our brain, what if that sort of afterlife it creates is eternal, in the sense of our mind doesn't know how to understand non-existence, almost so it makes it seem like an eternity to us. It makes it into our eternity. That makes sense? And if it didn't, we'd just go away without knowing that it wasn't our eternity. We just experience it as if it's going to be our eternity, and then we'd sort of peacefully cease to exist. So we couldn't have a problem with the idea of ceasing to exist, because we would know, we wouldn't know that we were ceasing to exist, and we would just cease to exist. It's not a bad thing, and it's not a good thing, necessarily. It's just isn't. Alright, enough of that confusing crap. Plus, that's kind of touchy. Alright, as for karma, I think karma works on a practical level. As in, if we do bad things, bad deeds, it creates a negative impact upon our brain. It creates a negative impact within our life. Because if you're rude to people, people don't like you. It's just that simple. If you're just a dick, no one's going to treat you well. No one's going to respect you. But karma doesn't 100% work. But because you can be a good person, and because of something about you is different, people can dislike you. So karma only works to a certain degree. But, within our own head, karma works. That is, if we keep our intentions in check, and if we worry about our intentions, not worry about them, but if we fix our negative intentions and make sure that our intentions and our actions are in check with each other, then you're more likely to be happy and to have positive experiences. But if you have positive intentions, or if you have negative intentions, or positive intentions that you don't follow through on, you're likely going to be unhappy. Selfishness, greed, those sorts of things have a tendency to make you unhappy. Ignorance definitely makes you unhappy inside. So that sort of thing is, by your own intentions and following through on them, karma works in that you're in your own mind state. So that's sort of just my thoughts. Very, I'd say very practical, but also kind of out there a little bit. Oh, and by the way, you don't know there's a God. Nah, I'm just messing with you, though. Yeah, no, that's touchy, man. That's pretty touchy. Trying to say you know there's a God. That's touchy. No. By the way, you're going to hell. Nah, just kidding. Hell is a made-up idea to scare people into belief. Peace out, y'all.